Dave Kotz again from the National Safety Training Center. I'm here with Anna
Unruh.
Unruh. Anna and I work together at National Safety Training Center, where we offer a huge variety of classes. Today, we want to talk to you about applying to a Lifeguard Instructor Trainer Academy or a Water Safety Instructor Trainer Academy and what you need to do to prepare. So, Anna, I want to give you a quick opportunity to give us your background. You haven't been on yet. This is your first time.
I became a Red Cross instructor in 2008 in Athens, Ohio. Got to do CPR first aid or CPR Pro rescuing. It's the RTE, and I never remember what it stands for anymore.
Responding to emergencies.
I became an instructor out in Athens, Ohio as a graduate student. And then through a whim decided, hey, I'm going to go into some aquatics classes just for my recreation degree, took a WSI class, and then also took a lifeguarding class and had some amazing instructors that really pushed everyone to their peak. Also got to do early wilderness first aid before it became a national program when I was volunteering in Maryland. And then in 2012, I was the aquatics representative for the state of Nebraska for the Red Cross for a short period. Shortly after, I became a lifeguard instructor. And then after that, they were starting to work on some of the academy outlines. So I got to go through both the WSI and the WSIT, LGIT academies early on. I since retook those so that way I would have the up-to-date information. And yeah, got to be an educator for a short span.
I was going to explain how we met.
Oh, yeah.
Which was as the Red Cross was searching for additional educators. Those are the people that actually teach the instructor trainer academies. So Anna and I were in a class. Oh my goodness. How many years ago was it?
It was about 7.
We were a group of 8 or 9 people that were basically being trained to be educators for both water safety instructor and lifeguard instructor trainers. So that's where we met. So this is very apropos. We have been through the academies. We have taught the academies, and some of us have gone through we've gone through them again. And I'm so old. I remember before the academies. So we've got the history of it. What we want to talk to you guys about today is how to prepare for an academy. There's a little bit of mystery that goes on with the academies and what happens there. We want to pull the curtain back, show you what happens at the academies, and help you prepare for them to maximize your success. So, Anna, what stuff do you need to bring to the academy with you?
All right. So first of all, going to acknowledge that the Lifeguard Instructor Manual that they just released this year in 2024 is a beast. And so you need to know how to manage that. My tip is that since the academy is based on the instructor-led outline, you need that portion absolutely in paper so that you can follow along. If you need appendices and things, if you're flying in, maybe digital, you're going to have to flip through a lot still to know where those pages are, but you're actively going to need skill sheets, all the scenarios. So there's a lot of appendices that you do need. So you need the instructor-led and then any materials that the instructor-led references, all of those multiple rescuer skill scenarios, all the skill sheets, all those little pieces. But as far as do I need the blended learning manual, you don't need that manual to follow along, but you do need to know where it is and where the outline is.
So I'm going to go out on a limb and make a recommendation. I believe they actually require now that you bring the entire manual, which again, 960 some odd pages is a beast.
If you are flying, you will be checking a bag, period, end of story. Even if you're only bringing part of it, you're checking a bag.
So if you're going to check a bag, check a big bag, bring the whole flipping manual with you. It's 3-inch binders. It will help you dramatically to have that. Now, that doesn't mean to say you can't have a digital copy as well for all you young digital people. Great. But having the hard copy will be invaluable to you as you go through the academy. Your educators will demand that you use that paper copy and be able to flip back and find things. So the next question is, do you try and print 960 some odd pages on your printer, like one back there? No. Do you go to Staples and have them print it? You can, but you're not going to like it. Best solution, go to the Red Cross store and order it there.
You're also going to be guaranteed to get the newest one if you're ordering through the Red Cross store. Recently had just an instructor training that's somebody's, oh, my boss handed me this one. That's not the current one, buddy. You got to have the most up-to-date one. So bringing your facilities copy, not a great option, especially with just this newest release. So unless you are absolutely sure that you have the newest, most up-to-date stuff, don't take the facility copy, order your own personal copy.
And I think we both had the experience where people show up at an academy and they have the instructor manual that's 2 versions ago, and then they look all embarrassed. Oh, we've been using that. Oh dear, no.
I just reused the cover from the ancient one and I gave someone a heart attack. The inside's a current, but the outside makes people worry. Don't do that.
Gotcha. So remember, at the academy, the instructor manual is definitely important. The instructor trainer guide, you're also going to need. Again, that's less pages. I think it's 200 or 300, but you're still going to need that. You're going to end up with multiple manuals open on your desk. So instructor manual, instructor trainer guide, or ITG. I don't know if you need the participant manual.
I believe, check your emails when you're accepted into the academy. We're going to default to that of whatever you are officially told goes. But our experience is participant manual, you could do a digital because somebody's following along during a practice teaching. It's also good for you to reference so that you can find the pages for when you present. We'll get to those in a moment. But you do need to have it available in some form. So you do need a participant's manual.
Again, my recommendation, if you're already schlepping that big suitcase, get the hard copy, bring it with you. You will be everybody else's hero when you have the material and everyone else trying to figure out the Wi-Fi connection, why the technology won't work. Bring the hard copy.
Yeah.
There's one other thing, which is new in the current R24 program that we haven't had before, which is the deck guide. It's on water resistant. There have been complaints that people, when they dunk the thing in the pool, they say it doesn't really dry off. That's not what it's designed for. It's water resistant, not waterproof. So having the deck guide with you will just help. Are all those things contained in the instructor manual? Yes, but the deck guide will definitely help having that on the deck.
It's also very visual, which is nice to have that skill walkthrough with the pictures next to it when you're doing a teach so that you can see exactly what should be going on. I will let you know that the pictures, as you go through, this is part of getting familiar to your stuff, not in the exact order that they are in the manual. There's a couple that are flipped. No big deal, but you just need to know that as you're going through your manual so that what matches up and what doesn't.
So at this point, I'm going to let out one of the secrets to the instructor trainer course. The becoming an instructor trainer is all about knowing the material and being able to use those course materials, knowing the lesson plans, using the lesson plans. That's what it's about. You need to be able to do 2 things to be successful as an IT. You need to be able to have the lifeguarding skills or the water safety instructor skills. Doesn't mean you can't, you have to be able to swim. You have to be able to be a lifeguard at the standard, but knowing the materials is critical. If you show up and you open the book for the first time on day 1, things won't go well.
And for the water safety instructor side of things, you're so used to you're coming in, you might have had some teaching experience before. You need to know the Red Cross materials and methods. So don't wait until the academy to read through and know where everything is. Please make sure that you go through your materials ahead of time. Even as an experienced instructor, you have to know. So you're going to make sure that you have your water safety instructor manual. You're going to have your swimming and water safety manual. You're going to have your water safety instructor trainer guide. So you'll have all of those. You need to have all 3 in order to make it successful. And this is the water safety and swimming and water safety book. Highly recommend keeping that as just buying the book because you're going to flip through that. There's going to be a lot of references. Trying to go page to page electronically, while I have seen it done efficiently, everyone's going to be more confident that you found the right page when you can easily see it. Or again, if somebody's didn't make it in their flight or something and you have that extra copy, now you can share easier and flip through and back and forth.
Even for water safety instructor, just lifeguarding, have the printed copy of the manual. Your experience will be much better. Trust us. What other supplies? So we got the manuals now. What other supplies do we need to bring with us to the academies?
Everyone's got their own note-taking style. So make sure that if you've been assigned things to read or do in advance, that you have done those. and that you've highlighted, marked, sticky tabbed, whichever works best for you through your book. So that way you know what you're doing and where your information is and you find it quickly. And then as you go through the course, again, having highlighters, pens, pencils, whatever it is as you go through. I was great at doodling demonstrations of things that I liked that someone did on the margins of my book. So that way I could replicate it later. So if there were keywords or fun songs, or the songs are not so much for lifeguarding, but hey, if somebody comes up with something, I'm able to note those down. And I encourage, even during like water safety instructor, have a way to take notes shortly after a couple practice teachings or things, because you're going to pick up things from other people and you want to be able to remember them. I got to teach a water safety instructor course where we had a person that was making up songs through the course for all their skills, and it was great. And I'm sitting there as the instructor trainer writing down the notes, and then people would ask me for my notes later because they wanted the song too. So make sure you have a way to recall tips and tricks that you are picking up from others, because that's also part of the experience.
Actually, let's highlight that right now because truly that is one of the huge benefits to the academy style of training instructor trainers. You're going to have people from
Oh,
around the country and internationally as well that will be at your academy. You will learn what they do and you will be amazed at some of the things that they do. They'll take away some of the things that you do. And that learning is one of the key benefits of hosting these academies. You have 10 people all from disparate areas that all bring their particular experiences to bear.
and beware that like some skills, this is a weird one because I went down to an academy in Texas and there were some like tips and tricks that I had never seen before in my region. And then I bring them back to my region because I'm teaching. And so people now have some different ways that they can do skills. So that way they can get through everything. So being open to everything. Once in a while, they're a little surprised because, again, you haven't seen it before, but then you see how well it works. And you're like, oh, I get it now. And a little bit with that. So we covered some of the classroom stuff. So you got to have your print manuals, you got to have ways to take notes, highlight, prepare yourself for your teachings, but you also need water gear. So you want to have some goggles, WSIs, especially lifeguards. It's nice to have them, but you're not going to use them as much, if at all. Still have a set just in case. And then you're going to be in the water for hours. Again, this is not just little hop in and out, hours, especially the WSIT academies. Lifeguards, you got a good chunk too. You need to stay warm. So, however it is that you are going to stay warm for being in the water, whether you're wearing a rash guard or if you're getting a shorty or if you're getting a like style jacket, like whatever it takes to keep you warm, because that will make a difference in your performance. If you are freezing, it's going to be harder to do things. I
And
got to see that in academy where
what's a
somebody like once we made them warm
insulting me?
was so much more successful.
What's a shorty? Were you insulting me as someone who's short?
I believe the shorties are the like shorts and short sleeve zip up stuff that goes over the swimsuits. I do not have one. I have a jacket.
Oh,
I wear swim
it's
shorts
like
or
a mini wetsuit type thing. I feel so much better.
yeah, I even have they make swim yoga pants or you can just wear really clean yoga pants, something to keep your body heat in you.
So just remember, you're going to be swimming primarily in a competition pool. They like to keep the competition pools mid 70s. When you're standing around, whether that's for lifeguarding, you're doing skills and drills, or for WSI, where you're doing the skills and drills too, that's a lot of standing. Water absorbs heat 25 times faster than air. You're going to get cold. So dressing appropriately is definitely a good plan.
I'd recommend at least 3 towels, whether those are 3 that you bring because you're driving, or if you check a big suitcase, or if you're borrowing your hotel towels. Gotta stay warm. So make it work. Again, 2 towels minimum. I highly recommend 3. Something to help you stay insulated. Swim caps, sure, they look goofy, but they work. So definitely do that. Also helps keep your hair out of the way during anything backboarding. Going to recommend that. Yeah, Dave doesn't have that problem, but then you don't have to worry about the hair sweep quite as much as you go through. So yeah, whatever's going to,
If you do have long hair, just be prepared to manage that, whether a swim cap, extra hair ties, whatever the case may be. Some pools have more restrictive requirements for long hair than others. I don't know anything about that.
yeah, I haven't run into those yet. That's just me having taught long enough that, hey, a braid tends to work better long term than a ponytail, but ponytail still functional. Bun is like the standard go to. But yeah, also swim caps, regardless of who you are, just as a way to manage heat.
Super cool. All right. So I think we've covered like everything we need to bring to the academy. I always want to highlight the thing that I didn't bring that I wish I had brought. Post-it. You can have different colors, sizes, whatever works for you, but the Post-it notes were a game changer. I learned that from someone else. There's always a Staples nearby. You can get Post-it notes, but bring a little brick. You'll be a happy person.
Snacks would be the other thing. Again, long days, lots of time in the water, and it depends on like how many people you have and how close you are to schedule on how long your lunch break is. So you may or may not be able to pop out and get something. Highly recommend grabbing something so that you can bring in lunch regularly. Inquire as if there's going to be a microwave or not. You might find that out day one and then be able to adjust what you're doing for the rest of the week. I was lazy and just buy like snack stuffs and then PB&J it all the way through the week.
I agree. Bring your lunch. Prepare for the academy. Have some lunches prepared. Bring them with you. There is not enough time during the academy to go out to lunch. That will not happen. You will be much better served if you have your lunch, and you'll be able to rest and recover and prepare for your next session. If your lunches are prepared already, you don't have to go figure out what you're doing for lunch that day.
If you are a caffeine person, bring your caffeine stash for the day. Hydrate.
Well, warm caffeine? Are you cold caffeine? Do you need Diet Coke or more coffee or whatever those, what's those crazy energy drink things?
There's so many. I legitimately brought a travel hot pot that collapses down and was making tea, and we had several people that were sharing in that.
I like that.
If you are trying to use tablets or computers to follow along and keep your materials, there may not be enough outlets for everyone. That's the other reason for hard copies by default is even if you are super familiar, super fast with technology, you may not be able to charge it because the educators take priority on whatever outlet is there. And if there's only one, because you're stuck in an exercise room, or there was one that was just a very small glass meeting office, they get the priority.
Do you remember the racquetball court? The Rutgers, there was a racquetball court. That's where we did the class in. And how many outlets are in a racquetball court?
You still need the paper.
Do I travel with a small power strip? Yes, I do. Especially the USB charging stuff. I make friends by having USB ports available. All right, we got our stuff.
Yes.
How do we then take all our stuff and how do we prepare to ensure maximum success? What are some tips and tricks?
All right. So for practice teaching, which last that I knew, they send out ahead of time instead of day of, because that gets a little hectic. So you should know what you're teaching, what your assignment is before you get there. You should have plenty of time to prepare for it by getting your materials, going through, reading through it a couple of times. And also, if you are confused as to what's going on, email and ask those questions, because it's very common for people to go, but I thought I was teaching this part. Verify, send them your highlighted notes and here's what I'm doing. Am I on the right track? And then that way, if you're not, and trust me, the educators love seeing that. You're not being like a goody two shoes. They like knowing that you're processing the material in advance. They like knowing that you care about it. So that way, if you do cause a misstep, they're like, we remember this person and that they are trying and they are processing to the best of their ability. You get a little bit of grace if you are showing that initiative in trying to prepare. And then if you have questions, please.
Let me just echo what you're saying. If you're given an assignment to teach a topic, whether it's one rescue or CPR, or whatever the case may be, finding that exact spot in your instructor manual or the IT guide and going through that can be confusing because there may be a skill drill that deals with it. One rescue or CPR, there may be a putting it all together drill. There may be the initial training for it. So just understanding where exactly that takes place can be confusing. Get to the right spot, verify it with your educator. This is where you want me to start. This is what you want me to cover from this part to that part. That demonstrates very good effort and will be much appreciated by everyone.
And then on the WSI side, the WSIT side, you will be expected to create lesson plans. So if you are doing, because part of the setup is that somebody does their practice teach and you evaluate them. So we get down to, there's layers upon layers. We'll see if we can get a visual to help it out. But if you are in a WSIT academy, if you are acting as a WSI candidate, you have to create a lesson plan for your little tiny skill. Do that because it helps the person that's the WSIT candidate evaluating that to accurately show their skills as well. And it shows your professionalism to fully create that and not just do, I'm doing this and this is the one thing that came before and this is the one thing that came after. No, full lesson plan, make it look pretty. It can be handwritten. It just needs to be fully done with realistic times and things, because that's the type of feedback that you'll want.
That's one of the key differences between the two academies, WSIT versus LGIT. The LGIT, the lesson plans are all there. If you try and create your own lesson plan, do that. It's happened. It happens at almost every academy. Do not write a lesson plan at LGIT. They're all there. We did it for you.
It does say to create
You have to
lecture
create your own lesson.
notes. I will let you know in the current packet, it says to create lecture notes. That's just a reminder for you as to what you're teaching. It's trying to get you so that you're so familiar with your stuff that you don't need your nose in the book, but you still need to follow the book. You'll want to also be prepared and know what the skills are supposed to look like for every level, because you will be evaluating somebody on if they're teaching the appropriate skill, the appropriate level, if their holds are appropriate to the skill being taught. Because I've seen some creative lessons where, okay, I'm going to do this. And you're like, no, they're brand new, shiny. They can't, they're a level 1 and you're teaching at a level 4. So have your reference points of what should be expected in each level for the skills you're evaluating. So that way you can give feedback to that person and show your attention to detail by pointing out, like, oh, this is a level whatever. They're able to do this and this about this time.
This challenge for water safety instructors, because not every water safety instructor in their normal course of business teaches all different
Correct.
levels. Some may be focused on mommy and me type of stuff, basic swimming instruction, and others may be competitive coaches that don't do mommy and me. So there's a wide variety, but you need to have that broad exposure to be successful at WSIT Academy.
And we'll get into the practice teaching in a little bit, but being aware of what you are teaching and also what you are observing. So you need to be prepared for both, because there will be a feedback thing where you watch someone else teach and you need to be able to follow along in your manual, in the manual that they are using to teach, or in the WSIT, the lesson plan that they're following along to teach, but you still need to know those skills and what levels. So you're still looking at a lot of manuals. I use a waterproof clipboard so I can store all my materials when I'm not teaching. I highly believe in either Ziploc or page protectors that are taped at the top, so that way I can see and do things. I'm also probably the biggest proponent of, I like grease pencils. That's correct. I have this many. That is how big of a fan I am. These are reusable ones too. So I have a plastic case one that I can refill. I can make notes on the laminated one. And then if I need to transfer that to something else. Also, if somebody has a jump in component, step back, because your sheet's about to get splashed. So make sure that you are mobile, that when you're observing someone, you're not seated on the deck, that you can move, see, and hear everything. And again, we'll touch more on the practice teach side when we get there.
Hey folks, it's Dave Kotz from the National Safety Training Center. Wanted to say thank you so much for watching episode 8 of the Life-Saving Chronicles. Stand by, where we continue this conversation in episode 9 as we learn more about taking a Lifeguard Instructor Trainer or WSI Instructor Trainer Academy from the American Red Cross. Remember, please like, share, and subscribe to our channels. Appreciate all your help. Look forward to seeing you on episode 9. Thanks.